I really like this movie.
Oh, see, I did too. This was one of those movies that it's fun. I didn't think anything amazing was like...
I've been looking forward to this one.
I knew you were, because you loved... You've told me this story well before this movie was made.
I thought they did a pretty good job. I mean, this is a legitimate story. Like, this is based on true events. There are some things, like, in actuality, this took place over, like, a 4-year... There were, like, 3 or 4 years there where they were trying to live them on. It's right. 2. But they do a pretty good job of...
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
at least, I mean, I'm no expert on it, but, like...
From what you've seen...
I was really worried from the previews we were going to get...
Oh, we were going to do this in 90 days.
And that's not what happened. There was some trial and error.
I did too. I like that. I like that it showed, like, no... They had to keep going back to the lab to figure out how to get the best car.
Yeah. Of course, like, the story I knew, I didn't know all the behind the scenes stuff with the internal struggle with Ford. I knew it goes back and forth between Ford Racing and Shelby, and there was 2 teams, and then in real life the 2 teams combined, and then they break them up again, and they have them competing against each other. It's basically Henry Ford II trying to do whatever he can to get these people to give him a winning race car.
You know what's so funny? It's like,
and I like that story that Henry Ford was like, I'm going to get back at Enzo Ferrari.
It's the most American thing ever. Which is like an Italian says, you don't know how to make a good race car. He thumbed his
nose at Ford, and Ford was like...
You know what? We're wasting all our money, and we're going to beat their ass. Like, that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I mean, in so many words, that's at its essence what this movie is. Is like, he got mad and was like, we're going to build the best car there is.
Yeah.
And to see, this is one of those movies that it was really, it was, like I said, it was a lot of fun. And I love, first of all, racing sequences are dope.
They're cool.
So good.
We'll go ahead and say it now. If you have the opportunity to see it in an IMAX,
and I've read
a Dolby sound,
you see it in a Dolby theater,
I can see the sound in this
because we saw it in IMAX, and the sound was. I mean, IMAX theater sounds good.
I've been to one racing event ever in my life. I went and
it was Fast 8. No,
I mean I've never been to like a race,
right?
And except I've been once, and I went to Road Atlanta. Went to go see NASCAR. That was a while ago, and I didn't really have any interest. But I went with a friend, and then afterwards I was like, "Wow, like it's a thing." And now there's a whole lot that goes into, but even the racing itself and the sound. And how everything, like being in the stands,
you thought they did a pretty good job of
well, like just yes, and I could see where seeing it in Dolby would make you feel even more like that kind of experience.
Right.
Because it is, when you're there, you can feel like
the rattling.
The rattling, and you can hear how loud everything is.
Right.
And stuff shaking. And it's impressive to go to a racing event. Just that, and then on top of the spectacle that is, and the
NASCAR fans,
where that back when you could I don't even know if you can still do it, but when I went, people bringing just coolers, beer, smoking bud in the stands,
amazing.
Just, bottles of liquor, like literally.
God bless the South, man.
It's a wild time.
Oh my god.
But anyway, that's kind of off subject. This is. I could see we're seeing this in Dolby sound because the racing sequences are
good, man.
Good.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
And I also, because there were some times where I was like, how much of the cars were CG? Because if they weren't, think about the budget for this movie.
Well, I would assume they would be kit cars, so they would just have like a fiberglass body of what those older cars look like, because those cars are worth
easily millions.
Yeah, I mean, hundreds of millions,
Gotcha.
Some of them. Like, there's... No
I didn't mean... But I mean, do you still think it would have cost a lot of money to build those kind of cars?
Mm-mm.
Not for a kit car? Because I mean, maybe it was just really well done in this sense, but it
I don't know about hundreds. I said hundreds of millions.
hundreds of millions. I was like, shit.
No, yeah, like
It felt like
$1 million,
but this
$2 million cars.
There were a lot of the racing sequences. It felt like they were going that fast.
Yeah.
Like it. Usually when you see a movie, it's like, oh, it doesn't feel like they're going that fast. Like you can tell there's some like tricks behind it. There were some parts in this movie where I was like, man, I think they were legitimately going like at least 150.
Yeah.
You know, like they were flying. Okay, so the story itself is like really cool, especially from an American perspective, because it's like fuck yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like, America did it. And it was cool to see them like
and Carroll Shelby's like the ultimate American in the sense that
Cowboy,
he was kind of known as being a cowboy.
Yeah.
Like he was, not really. He didn't always play by the rules. His deal was just.
But that's a major part of this movie is how he's kind of the mediator between Ken Miles, who's Christian Bale, and the Ford company.
Yeah.
And really, it's basically Ken Miles and Leo Bebe, which is Josh Lucas's character. I would argue that for a movie that isn't really about actors, the actors crush it.
Oh yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, I thought when we left the movie, I immediately was like, man, Christian Bale's unbelievable. He always, whatever movies he's in for me, I'm immediately not thinking that's Christian Bale. To
me, I felt like this was probably the least effort went into this transformation.
That's true. Like, I think he had his British accent and he was just kind of hanging out. Like, there was not much of, like, method acting behind it.
Yeah.
It was by the end, and the last 15 minutes are really impactful, and more importantly, that was when I kind of had to take a step back and I realized, like, man, Matt Damon is really good. You know? And specifically, there's a scene, they're outside of Ken Miles' house.
And he's talking to the son.
He's talking to the son. And it's just really good. And it was something that I was like, oh man, like,
yeah.
I was like, Matt Damon's great. And that was something, the movie is so much fun. And they're able to kind of pepper in moments throughout the movie where it is very emotional, you know? And I thought they handled that really well. It was a pretty well-balanced movie in that sense, because it felt like really kind of human, you know, like it took a break from them building the car, them crafting the car, them racing, the competitiveness behind it, and then it's
the actors that played Ken Miles' wife and son, I felt both did a really good job.
I thought so too.
Specifically his wife, I thought was really good.
Yeah, she was.
They were supposed to be the human element.
Yeah, and they were.
Yeah, and
she was great. I thought she was really.
The scene where she's driving, she's like, "You got to tell me what's going on."
He's like, "All right." Sitting there eating potatoes. I've seen. See, that's what I'm saying. Is like this movie has scenes that are really kind of funny, like where Ken Miles is known for being like a hothead a little bit. Like he will jump on someone, and during the middle of a race, he's starting to yell at someone, and Carol goes, he's like, I've got this, and then immediately starts yelling the exact same thing. It was something that I thought was really funny, and like in this moment that's kind of tense because they're in the middle of a race, it was kind of like a nice little break, and it goes back to this movie. It's not as much as Jojo Rabbit for me, but it's a movie that kind of touches on a lot of different emotions. And in this is in a different way because it is kind of high octane, a lot of like kind of action behind it. But it still is that type of movie. Like we left the theater and I was like, man, I could watch that now. I could watch it again.
Yeah.
You know? And for a movie that is 2.5 hours,
it does fly by.
Flies by. The moment that Ferrari insults Ford, it's pretty fast paced. There's a lot that's going into, you know what, we need to build a car. Oh, we need to get the right driver. Well, there's some problems like Josh Lucas is really good in this movie. You hate him.
And we asked this question earlier. Is this the best villain we've seen all year?
All year? I don't know, man.
I
really have to think about it. I mean, we saw this hours ago. So I'm like still.
Well, the reason I say that is there's not many villains like you really hate him.
You hate this guy, and it's because
you want to hit him, and it's kind of like.
But that goes into like I feel like any other movie they'd almost embellish like maybe he would get punched at the end or so there'd be some, and it's like no. And it's because that's what I kind of liked about this was that it was real. It's like he didn't get his comeuppance. It was just like he was a jerk and he was just going to continue being a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not really that he won, but it was just like no, that's just the person he is.
Yeah.
And that was kind of what was nice about the ending of the race was it was kind of how Ken realized he was like, you know what, I'm going to be a team player. Because he was singing the happy song by himself and was like, this isn't fun.
Yeah.
But, God, Christian Bale was great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really looking back, Christian Bale,
and that was an emotional moment, too, where his wife's like, you need to be proud of your dad. Like, because the son's like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Because he was slowing
down.
up. I didn't know that was a part of that history either, that they had to have it, or that they wanted to finish.
Yeah, that was a big deal. That was a big deal to the whole thing. Well, the moment was a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and it's still a big deal in racing history, I guess. Like,
it was that moment of like America.
I don't think you even notice it, but I bet you've seen. There's like a famous picture.
I bet you I have.
And then and there's like a famous picture of the three crossing the line
at the same
time. And
and we're calling
it was a giant, and it was it was a giant middle finger.
Yeah.
To all those people that took it a lot more seriously than America. It was like America had never even thought about racing in this until like a couple years before, and they were like, "You've been doing this for like
we did this in 5 years."
Yeah,
y'all are terrible. We're amazing.
We started thinking about doing this in 1960. It's now 1964. How do you like me now? Like,
it is. That's how, and that's kind of what's great about watching it. You're like, man, America's awesome. Like,
well, no,
that's kind of what I get.
It would be like if America had never played soccer, and then they said, you know what? And the next World Cup,
every athlete. From baseball, basketball, American football.
We're going to throw everybody, all our best athletes are going to play soccer.
LeBron James, your goalie.
Yeah.
And like, that would be insane.
And then we'd win the World Cup and be like, oh yeah, we're the best. Peace out. We're not doing this anymore.
Yeah, just to show that it's like, we can't.
Yeah.
No,
and it is. It's an American movie.
It really is, man.
But
I give this, if I had to rate it.
I'll go ahead and say it. I give it an A-.
Yeah. Because it's not like nothing is like brilliant about it. You know, I mean, the racing sequences are handled and really well made.
Yeah.
But there's nothing about it where I was like astonished. You know, But because it is such a fun movie, and I plan on watching it again, and all the actors are...
To me...
There's not really a whole lot of weaknesses.
To me, the best... No, there's not.
You know?
And it's well made. It's not, like, amazing made.
Yeah.
It's well made. It's well acted. It was well written. But the best part of it is the story itself, and that's
just history.
That's just history.
Right. I agree. That's a very good way of putting it.
And that was the reason I was excited to see this movie, because I heard the history and I know a little bit about it. But I remember hearing they were making that movie. I was like, oh, that's gonna be cool. And then I heard who they got to play.
Like, oh man,
yeah, this is great.
I think I would settle with an A- as well. Really enjoyed it. I thought
I'm assuming
James Mangold did a good job of directing it. Even the character actors were good. Like Ray McKinnon as like the lead. I wouldn't say mechanic, but kind of like engineer for the Shelby team.
Yeah.
He's from Oh Brother Where Art Thou? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
The new husband.
Yeah.
Or fiance.
Fiance. Ken Miles' wife and son are good. Shelby's good. Tracy Letts as Henry Ford II is good. John Bernthal he's great as Lee Iacocca.
Yeah.
Like, and he's lucky. Like, when you think about important part in that movie is him giving the heads up to Shelby when they come out of the boardroom and he's on the phone with Shelby. He's like, I just gotta let you know about what's going on here. Like he was
Talk about a cool dude. Anybody that wants to know any kind of like that it played a major role in American cars, look up Lee Iacocca.
Lee Iacocca.
He is an interesting figure. He did some really cool. Because he was a salesman,
right?
That's what he was, and he was like, he knew like cool and what people thought were gonna be cool and what was gonna sell. Like he had a lot of ideas, and not just like with sports cars. He did other things too that were like ended up blowing up. Like, I mean, just a cool guy. Look him up. That's it. There's a lot of cool figures in this.
Well, see, that's what's. It is. It's all these. When I left, I wanted to go look up like a lot of these individuals and look into what they went on to do, because I kind of want to know what Josh Lucas did. He just fizzle out in the Ford company? Did he continue?
Yeah.
But yeah, I would recommend go see it in theaters. This is another one of those movies that you will get the full impact if you see it in theaters.
Well, it'll be good no matter what.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it, but I
think the racing, you'll get a feel for like how cool that was. Like how that, to me, was the more impressive filmmaking aspect of this movie. The race scenes,
because they really make you feel like you're going that fast, and it's cool. So, yeah, that was our take on Ford versus Ferrari, and catch us later with our take. So, we'll see you. Check you later. Vroom vroom. Dude, we could have booked it out of the movie theater. I would have gotten a ticket.